Alright, shit has officially hit the fan, y'all. If you haven't heard, Louisiana basically just struck down the Voting Rights Act. And I'm not going to get into it, but the weird thing is the video that I was going to drop today, instead of this one, focused on redlining. Now, redlining was something that was put into place in the 1930s where actual maps were separated white from black to keep black neighborhoods, for the most part, destitute, not getting the same treatment, of course, loans being higher, just a way of separating black from white and being able to legally discriminate. Now, redistricting is something different, but pretty much it comes together because both use geography to discriminate against people. And to be honest, the Louisiana thing kind of ties both together because, in my opinion, it is very close to redlining because they are trying to dilute the black vote. So I'm going to do it the way I was doing it originally. And what I was focusing on was current ways that this is still happening. And not just as a group, but it can apply to individuals as well. Now, I felt like I had to re-record it because the Louisiana thing is too much of a big deal and it's on such a large scale, but I wanted to still talk about the things that are a little bit more discreet. Okay, so I'm going to do that. But before I do, welcome to Black to Bitcoin, where I talk about the need for Bitcoin in the Black community. I'm Tiffany, and I would truly appreciate it if you would like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anybody who needs to know about it. Okay? All right, so per usual, I have my notes here. I'm going to go through several ways that redlining, quote unquote, still has an impact today. Okay? The first one that I have, and I honestly, it's crazy that this is coming at this time because this also applies to the Louisiana thing, but algorithmic and data-driven bias. Now, this is pretty much when people use zip codes to decide outcomes because zip codes reveal if something is a black neighborhood or not. And of course, this ties into the Louisiana thing because that is literally what they're trying to do, is to change and to dilute the black community so that their voices aren't heard. So that is a way that they do it with the data, but they also do it with like credit scores, just kind of deciding, oh, this group of people have lower credit scores usually, and of course that's for reasons other than just, irresponsibility. That's partly that, but a lot of it is system driven. So they use things like that, and then they use the predictive models that kind of give them insights into things as well. So they use all this data to create discrimination against people, and the Louisiana thing is just a big scale of that. All right. The next one is appraisal discrimination, basically the worth of houses. Now, of course, this applies when it comes to a neighborhood in general that's black. The property values are lower, but this can also affect middle class, upper class people. I came across something that was really interesting where realtors are now telling black people that are selling their houses to take their photos down of themselves and their families, because once people realize that a black family owns it, the property value goes down. That's crazy to me, but it's not surprising. So that just shows you how widespread it is now. It's not just in a community. It can go as far as selling your own individual house. The next one I have is lending disparities, and this is pretty much on a regular basis with anything. So in communities that are black, there are a lot of raised interest rates on things. I'll talk about other things that are like higher in another point, but basically just interest rates, being denied loans in general. So these are all tied to that, just general lending problems. The next one is insurance redlining, and I'm just going through this list like fast. Insurance redlining, which is basically that black people are charged higher premiums for their insurance, and that's across the board. Health, it could be car insurance, anything. And basically that causes a problem, obviously, right? You can't, if you're getting charged more for anything, it is contributing to debt and generational wealth problems. So there's that. And then another thing is retail or food deserts. I talked about this in another video, and basically a food desert is a community where companies, banks, grocery stores, they don't want to be associated with black neighborhoods, so they don't set up there. And because of that, there's less competition, and because of that, they can drive up prices when they are there. So the few that do decide to be there, they overcharge with groceries or products or whatever else. And then another problem with these food deserts is that if there's no businesses coming into the community, there aren't any jobs or opportunities for the community, right? So that's also contributing to a wealth disparity because there's no jobs for people in the community. The other one and the last one is a trip to me. Like, this one's crazy. I've never heard this, but it's very interesting. But it's called digital redlining. And basically, internet companies or any, like, what are they called? Yeah, internet providers for the most part. They are charging more when it comes to black people. But the crazier part is that they are giving them less bandwidth. So slower internet. And I'm just like, why would you do that? Some things it's almost like they're just doing stuff to do stuff. And when I say they, I'm talking about government, the system, companies, whatever. But like, that's just one of those things that sounds like, oh, I just want to F with some people. Like, I'm going to give them slower internet. Like, I don't get that. And honestly, I think it sounds bizarre, but I don't put anything past the people who run this country. Okay, so it definitely could be true. It came out in the research and I thought I would include it. Okay, so those are the ways that people are still using racial lines, literally, figuratively, to keep racism alive. I'm going to go ahead and do a recap of the different points just to do that because I always think that's a good thing. The first one is algorithmic or data-driven bias. So basically things like zip codes, credit scores, appraisal discrimination, whether it be for a specific neighborhood or an individual selling their house, lending disparities, basically being denied loans or if they are provided higher interest rates, insurance redlining. So just charging people of color higher premiums. And then, retail and food deserts. So keeping certain communities dry when it comes to grocery stores, convenience stores, the retail stores, to drive down the opportunity of good prices. And then digital redlining and basically getting slower internet, which is crazy. But yeah, slower internet. Okay, so these are not written redlining things. They are just things that are put into place that are automatic. But let's talk about Bitcoin, okay? I'm not going to go into crazy depth, but Bitcoin is freedom, okay? It is economic freedom. And in the end, I'm going to say it every single time, we can't wait to be saved. Nobody is going to save us. And in my opinion, wealth equals power. and Bitcoin is the solution because it's independent. There's no middleman involved, okay? There's no interest rate problem, no permission to get a loan, all the stuff that is monetary, that is a problem, okay, can be pretty much fixed with Bitcoin in large amounts as a community, okay, and to save for the community. So there's that. It's limited in supply. So the people who have it are going to be the people who have the wealth. So we should be getting it. We can store it. It is just a solution to a lot of our problems. So all this stuff happening in the news, it should just reiterate just how much we cannot rely on things. The Voting Rights Act would seem like something that is embedded forever in writing. And they are finding ways to dilute it. They are pulling little pieces of it. They didn't technically, okay, strike it down, but they took away things that made it very, very clear that states can do whatever they want when it comes to their districting. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, we should just get ourselves together when it comes to our finances. So Bitcoin is the solution when it comes to that. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on it. I really do suggest that you go and look into what just happened if you're not clear on it, because it is a really big deal. And, you know, we can talk about politics versus, you know, economics or whatever. But in the end, you know, it is legislative, and it is a huge blow to anything that was written about fairness when it comes to districting. So, all right, I'm going to leave it at that. Hope you have a great day. Keep stacking them coins, and I will talk to you later. Oh, yeah. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video and share. Okay, now I'm going to go. All right, have a good day. Bye.